Good morning, everybody, and welcome. My name is Debbie, and I'm an independent celebrant. I have the privilege of leading the celebration today of the life of Betty Jackson. This really is a celebration of a long life filled with passion, art and culture, music and fashion. Betty was a private lady, and we don't have many details about her. But we do know that she was married to John and that she moved to Wales in the 1990s, then subsequently moved to the Windmill Home in 2018. Betty was a very talented lady, and she often spoke French with Sylvia, one of the carers. Now, we have received some impressive information about Betty. It seems that in her younger days she lived in Paris and was a very significant person in the fashion industry. She had her own boutique, designed clothing that was then shown on the catwalks at the Paris Fashion Week, and was well regarded amongst the industry leaders of the time, including Yves Saint Laurent. She was clearly very successful in her business. Betty's work didn't go unnoticed here in the UK either, as she was awarded an OBE for services to fashion by Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth. Betty designed beautiful, affordable fashion, which was different from the creations being produced by her contemporaries. But sadly, we didn't know Betty at that time. The Betty we knew loved a good cream tea and loved watching the TV, especially soaps, and Inspector Morse, who she thought was very handsome. Betty loved knitting and crochet and made lots of gifts and blankets. Anna's going to read a short poem about knitting. It's called Clickety Clack, and it's by Robin O'Connell. Then it's the poem. Thank you, Anna. Well, maybe Betty wasn't known for her booties and bonnets, but I can say, as a fellow knitter, that I'm sure that whatever Betty was making, she knew who she was making it for, and every stitch was made with love. These things have become items of special value, as I'm sure each one will hold a memory of Betty. Before we conclude and say the Lord's Prayer, I'd like to offer you a few minutes of contemplation to think about the life of Betty. A few minutes. So please join me in saying the Lord's Prayer. Sorry, I've got the dog. If you would like to take a few more moments to think about Betty, then please feel free to do so. Our Father, and the next bit. On behalf of Betty, I would like to thank you all for coming. I'm sure Betty would join me in thanking the carers from the Windmill Home for the superb work they do, their patience and their love. I think everyone would like to think they'll be remembered, and I'm sure that if she were here, Betty would like to say that she would like you to remember her through her knitting and crochet, and of course, when you see Inspector Morse on the TV. But I'd ask you also to spare a thought for this remarkable lady who will certainly have listened to our parting song while she was in Paris. So we will finish with Edith Piaf singing La Foule, which is a romantic song about a young woman dancing amongst a crowd on the streets of Paris. During this song, the curtains will close for the final time. Thank you once again for coming along today.